Easy Sports Talk Show with Ed Smith and Javon Adams. My name is Javon Adams. You can call me Jay or J Love. He is Ed Smith. Not only did he play professional baseball, but also played in the National Football League for that first Super Bowl bound team for the Atlanta Falcons. What is good, my brother?
In the immortal words of Show Nuff, playtime's over, boy. It's time to get some football, for some real football in. We're a day away from opening up the season. That long slumber of the off season is almost over, and it's gonna get real, bro. This is our meat and potatoes. The summer, we go on a diet. This is meat and potatoes for the next, 6 months or whatever it is, all the way into February. So let's get it on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's do this. And we do this thing 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we are back in I won't say all vacations because I think I am going to start taking the occasional vacation, a little more consistently, I suppose. And I even tried to put a bug in your ear to do the same. But, so before we get into National Football League, which is, of course, the elephant in the room, I wanted to get your thoughts on expectations, just kind of expectations, and sometimes do you puff your chest out a little too much, a little too soon before you really round into form? And so there are a couple different ways to take this. One is, LSU. This past weekend, they lost to USC, and I called you because I heard this when in terms of traveling back, and I heard somebody say that USC beat the Cajun accent out of the coach because there's no more of that Cajun accent. He's upset, and then also Florida State. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the end of last college football season, Florida State was complaining because they felt that they should have been in the 4 pick because they felt that they were the best team and all that, and so they felt slighted. They are 0-2 and they are out of the top 25. It seems like. I wanted your thoughts on it because there's all kinds of different ways to take it with college football, especially. It's even with this playoff being expanded, there still is that it's a do or die situation almost every week when you come into a matchup.
Well, the problem with college sports, and we do this with college basketball as well, but especially all these years with college football, is we go into a season, we haven't seen that. Remember, they have kids that graduate now. They have kids that transfer. And, and coaches that move, get fired, whatever it is. All these things happen. You got a brand new team. You're working with 19 to 23, sometimes 24 years old nowadays. But you're working with these young men, and we start the season ranking everybody as if we know. This team is a top 10 team. This team is number 1.
You got to watch out for their cornerback because their secondary is lethal. Yeah.
So we got everybody ranked, and then they finally play, and we find out that, damn, that team stinks. They're not as good as we thought they were. Yeah. Or this team that what I don't like is they have teams that are probably pretty good, no ranking, no nothing at all. You find out they're good, and they're starting at the back of the heap.
They got a claw.
Yeah, fight and claw. Now they're ranked 25th, and it's like, well, maybe they were a top 10 team, but you didn't know or didn't realize it. You got them at the back of the heap, which is unfair. Now they got to scratch and claw all year long, and one loss could destroy them. Whereas if a team with one loss that started at number 1, 2, or 3 is only going to bump them so far, and they can fight their way back into the mix, So, like I said, the biggest thing for me is this preseason rankings when we don't even know what the teams are. Right. Florida State entirely, their quarterback got hurt last year. They did finish undefeated, didn't get the nod to go to the big game. They lost their bowl game, so it really looked bad. But like I said, you got a whole new team. Oalungale or whatever his name.
Yeah.
Third time, he started Clemson. Went out to Oregon State.
Transferring. Maybe it's not them. Maybe it's you.
Maybe it's you. Yeah. Everywhere he goes, it's like somebody who has a funky odor or something. right? Everywhere they go, like they're in a group and everybody's always like, what the hell is that smell? Something stinks.
Now, I'm not typically funky, but as soon as you said that, it made me think of when I walk into a store after I'm done with a run, and I'm thinking, man, why is somebody standing here funky as hell? And I realize that it's me, and I try to get my stuff and get the hell out of there.
But yeah, with Uelungele, or I can't even say his name, but
Yeah.
I mean, this young man, bruh, you know, everywhere he goes, he's like Pigpen. He just his son is just bad, and I feel bad for him for certain because they're already calling for his head in Florida State for the backup and stuff like that. But moral of the story is we get all these rankings, expectations, and just to find out team is not as good as everybody thought they were. But it's our fault, not our fault, but the media's fault because they got these teams ranked already without even knowing. Why not have a ranking that comes out after the first or second week of the season? That type of thing. But no, Georgia's got to be number 1 against number 14 Clemson to start out the season. And we find out Clemson stinks, you know, that type of thing. You find out Florida State is not as good as they were last year to finish the season, all this stuff. And like I said, it's a product of the situation. You get these teams all hyped up, find out they're not that good, and you find out other teams are like Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech beats Florida State in the first game over there in Ireland.
Georgia Tech, with that offense that they run, and again, this is one of the things I happen to watch that game, most of that game. So I'm not saying that they're the best team in college football, but I am saying that if you don't stop them, that the game that I watched against Florida State, they just controlled the ball. That's all they did. Yeah. We just want to control the ball.
And but a team like that, they're penalized because they're not initially thought of as a good team, but they might actually be a pretty good team. I know Florida State found that out. So, from here on, we just march because we've already seen Florida State get bounced all the way from whatever they started out the season already out of the top 25. Clemson's already got a blemish. We got a couple surprises with some of these other teams. And I said, we just move forward from here. But like I said, the problem is, for me at least, to answer your question after all this, it's the preseason rankings, which come with expectations. Yeah. That's what messes everything up.
And just the last thing I'll say, it's almost like I'm not trying to speak out of both sides of my mouth here, but the same thing that I'm saying, that when you're puffing yourself, you're puffing your chest out a little bit too much, and then you got to wait for things to kind of play out because it's too early. But then also because if you're not winning right out the gate, then there's already coaches on the hot seat. They're already talking about what in Florida and Florida State and all these things, you lose 1 or 2 games, and they're saying that. And so what ends up happening is then you usher in the next guy. The next guy got to start from scratch, and then he loses a little bit as he's trying to build, and it's just never-ending cycle. If you believe you got the right guy, then stick with the guy.
Can I speak on that real quick, though?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bruh, these NIL collectives and stuff like that now. We always knew that behind the scenes, this is pre-NIL. There was always those boosters doing the $100 handshakes or building the library or whatever they were doing. Yeah. And they always felt like they had, hey, why isn't such and such playing? Or, why are we doing this? Our head coach should be. But, you could tell them to be quiet because you're just a booster,
Yeah.
Now, with these collectives, these people are shelling out millions of dollars for these players that are supposed to come in here and help our program be what it used to be or take us back to the glory. And now, because of direct payments, people people are buying stocks and they're like, wait a minute, what's wrong with my stock? Calling their stockbroker, hey, what's wrong with this stock? Before you just give your money and let them go do their thing. Now it's everybody's hands on because we're paying specifically for this dude, or we're putting money in the pocket. So the fans and the boosters and everybody have even more control, more say. So now with, you come out the box 0-1, 0-2, or not even the record, but get embarrassed at home or don't play well or doesn't look good. Now everybody's going to start chirping, and they think their voice means even more now because they're putting in on this. Before, they wasn't putting in on this. It was like, you can't get, none of this. Now it's like, hey, well, what you got on my 40, homie? So, and these coaches are going to feel it more and more. And that's why we've seen a few of these coaches say, you know what? Yeah, clap their hands. I'm done. because it's too much. The NIL, the players have a little more control now. They can transfer. The coaches, they're not listening to them. Then you got the pressure of, hey, we need even more success, even quicker now. So, man, be careful what you wish for, because at first the coaches and the universities were kind of like, hey, that's cool. They can get paid and we don't have to do it. Now, like I said, with all that power and everything, with great power comes, what was my man Spider-Man?
Great responsibility.
Great responsibility, bro.
Yes, sir. So he is Ed Smith. I am Javon Adams. This is Easy Sports Talk Show with Ed Smith and Javon Adams 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let's get to, and we'll make our predictions maybe for all the real football predictions. But I want it, as we prepare, as this is week 1, what are maybe 2 or 3 storylines, or what are 2 or 3 things or that you're looking forward to, or that you'll be keeping an eye on, especially maybe in the first quarter of the season, the first half of the season where the NFL is concerned? For me, it's I'll say Kansas City Chiefs. It's really how are they going to come out hungry, because they have an opportunity to do something that's virtually unprecedented. So what will they do? How will they come out? And the second is, how will Chicago, how will Caleb Williams, how will he come out and play? I expect that he'll play well, but I don't expect that the Bears will end up winning a whole lot of games, even though they have some firepower on the offensive side. But how will he handle that if he's not winning as he was used to in college that last year at USC, notwithstanding?
Great minds think alike, man, because I'm right there with you. I want to see how the Kansas City Chiefs get ready to attempt to do something that only a few other teams had the possibility of doing, is doing the three-peat. Most recently, about 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was, the New England Patriots had an opportunity to do it. Failed. Yeah. Winning 3 in a row, I mean, it is not easy to win back-to-back, let alone 3 in a row. So and the thing is, I think they are the perfect team to try to pull it off, though, at this point, because you would think they're distracted with all this stuff going on. Taylor Swift all over the place. The offseason shortened because of your, second time in a row running it all the way to the end. These dudes, man, Andy Reid has an ability to get everybody focused, and I think because he keeps it fun, and these guys like every day. Pick my son up from school. Hey, how's the day? Oh, it was pretty good. Well, tell me a little more about it. Well, biology. It's first class today, biology. Oh my God, it was so boring. Blah, blah, blah. And but then he gets to later on in the day, different subjects. He's talking. Yeah, we did this and that. And I think Andy Reid has a way of keeping the Chiefs and his players away from thinking like that first period biology. Oh God, it's so boring. Keeps everything interesting, keeps it moving. Yeah. And I think that's going to be a plus for them. And then you got Mahomes, who, when it's all said and done, people are already giving him the nod as could be the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. You got Tom Brady, who's your measuring stick. Tom never got 3 in a row. Tom got his 6 plus 1 down there in Tampa, but he never pulled off the 3-peat. Imagine that, being the focus. Because, one, you can do something that the GOAT never did, and then you still got time to do more. So, and add on to your resume. So I think there's going to be a focus for this team. The other thing for me, and not just Caleb Williams, I'm looking at all the young quarterbacks, how there's a couple who, like Love and C.J. Stroud, will the sophomore slump, or do they just continue to build on that? Then you got this young group that just came in with Caleb Williams. A lot of pressure on them to live up to some of these young quarterbacks that are in the league now.
I'm going to jump in real quick. I'm going to let you finish. But that's one of the things that I believe that people – when it comes to sports, we always think that success is this line that goes up. It's like it slants to the right and continues to go up. But that's not how a career goes. You have some of the rising and falling action. It's almost like the stock market in a lot of ways. So even if C.J. Stroud is not as prolific as he was in his rookie campaign, that doesn't mean that he's not growing and becoming – sometimes the win-loss record doesn't show how much a player is growing, or how they are really becoming comfortable in their skin. Now, real quick, you mentioned some of how the second year of these young quarterbacks will respond. That Bryce Young, he's the first quarter of the season is going to be is going to tell a lot about him as well. And I don't know if it's going to tell a good story.
Well, it also shows that no matter how good you are, you still need pieces around you as well.
Yes.
And then, I mean, if you put Bryce in Houston, it could be a totally different. Or you took CJ and put him over in Carolina with the mess they had over there. It could be a totally flip-flop situation. Or you could see CJ Stroud uplift over there, and then you could possibly see Bryce, like, it wouldn't have been as good in Houston. So we will never know, because that's one of those things. That's why, we get to ask these questions, ask and answer these questions, what ifs. But like I said, you never know the fate of one quarterback. Caleb Williams, look at the situation he goes into in Chicago. They did
it the right way. You mentioned surrounding you with weapons, so that he can't say I don't have weapons. So he has weapons.
And if you're Fields, what are you thinking? You're like, you finally put it all together just to get my ass out of here.
Ooh,
and I would, if I'm him, I would be very bitter, because they went out and did all this stuff. You think about what they have been up until this point. It's been a blank show, and now they want to do it right because they got Wonder Boy. I'd be pretty ticked off at this point. Too. But it is what it is. But Caleb is going to be judged on a different scale because he's got so much over there. They got a running game. They got a great defense. They went out, got all these wide receivers. They went to Carolina and just pilfered. I mean, if I'm Carolina, I got to get, you just have to get back at somebody sometime. Yeah. You see their car in the parking lot. Yeah, I'm just going to go over there and do something, because, every time I see them, I'd be like, they took everything we had, but yeah, Caleb Williams, through these other young quarterbacks, I'm interested to see how Love does in Green Bay. Does he take, off from where he finished off in the playoffs last year?
Perfect leverage for Love, because he ended up getting some money. But we'll see. Now, I wanted to ask this, so let me look to the left, look to the right. Is Joe Burrow injury prone?
If he gets hurt again this season in any way, I would not be surprised. And when the problem is Cincinnati has paid him, but you start to wonder, is it time to start looking ahead and figuring out, well, what do we have to do to get through this contract to the next? Or he's at this point,
he's a great talent, but if he gets injured again and he's out for let's say 3 or 4 weeks, then I think maybe people aren't trying to put that label on him. Maybe it's a little bit too premature, but he's he's in the neighborhood. He's going through the different neighborhoods, and he's about to make that right turn into injury proneville. And I think that's a conversation that will probably be had if he's missing 3 or 4 weeks in the season.
Well, I will say this much. He's the type right now, it's not even missing 3 or 4 weeks. When he's getting hurt, it's like season ending. So the last couple of years now, he started last year, he hurts himself with the calf in training camp, can't play the whole training camp. Then he comes out hobbled from the start, and then he eventually loses with the hand. He's done for the year. So that was a double whammy. So if something happens where he gets off to a start, but boom, he gets hurt again, and now he's done for the year, I think Cincinnati really has to start thinking we might have damaged goods here.
And that's not to say that he's not a tough player, because there's a difference between I can't play man, I'm injured, I'm hobbled, but I'm gonna do the best that I can. If sometimes you just can't play, and I think that's why that's the label that may be put on him.
Well, it's almost like, let's look, you have a beautiful car, right? And every time you turn around, something's wrong with it. And, this time, and it's not little things. It's transmission. It's electrical. It's not just a flat tire or a ding it's something that you're always coming out your pocket for, or you can't rely on this thing. So what do you eventually have to do, Jay? As pretty as that vehicle is, hey, I got to start thinking about getting rid of this thing. Right. And that's kind of what it's like. It's, it's not just cosmetic. He's to the point now where he's missing chunks of time, and you go out to the garage and you're just praying, oh God, I hope this thing starts. And you know, and you can't rely on that. And at some point, man, I got to think about getting something new and get rid of this thing. No matter how pretty it is, sitting in their garage. I mean, he looks real cool standing on the sideline with the pretty hair, but you know, he's got the big brace on the arm or the hand because he can't play. So we'll see if he gets dinged again. I do think they're going to start considering. Like I said, we might have to have a long season. He might not be the long-term solution there if you can't rely on him to get through. This has got to be a healthy season for him, in my opinion.
Now, leave me with this. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I know you, because you live and breathe, as you mentioned. This is your time of the year. So I know if I call you, you're gonna say, "Jay, I'm gonna have to hit you back. I'm watching this game. I'm watching this game. I'm watching this game." If you were playing, because they're playing on Friday, would you, from a player standpoint, would you be saying, all right, we just giving them another bit of real estate now? When are we going to be able to get that back? Because we made a concession to play on a Friday night.
Not even just that. I heard a report where like some of the Philly players are like, wait a minute, you're sending us over to a country that they've told us you can't even go out and walk around if you know, because for fear of crime and stuff like that. That's where the element, you know, and over there in Brazil, people have never been out of our country. You know, they don't realize what goes on in other countries. I played professional baseball for those 9 years. I went over to the Dominican Republic and played winter ball one year.
Yeah.
Bruh, armed guards with machine guns walking around during pregame, like we're taking bat practice. Armed guards, not with a gun on the hip. I'm talking machine guns patrolling the stands and then during the game, and you remember that story I told you one time.
Yeah, yes, I do.
We can go deep one of these days, but the same thing goes. Like you're sending players over to countries now where they have to worry. We just had a young man that is over in just got shot for his jewelries and stuff like that in San Fran. But now you send them over to Brazil, and you know who's next, and what you're asking these players to do, taking them out of their routine because you want to make more money. And spread the word of the gospel of the NFL at the expense of the players. But at the same time, the players are the ones who gave away that real estate, as you mentioned. They've agreed to everything the owners of, and the next thing you know, it's going to be 18 games. So now what's going to happen with that extra game? Okay, where can we send everybody now? One week we're going to send, we're going to start doing multiples where we, like the players union, they fell for the 3-card Monty, man. And at some point, you got to take the cards off the table or renegotiate. But every time they do, it seems like they get got. So now, like you said, Thursday, Friday,
Saturday for college football, Sunday,
Monday,
Sunday night, Monday.
Oh, golly. Yeah. And what's really ticking me off is the fact that we can't, like, as a consumer of the entertainment, you don't even know where to get it sometimes. What more is coming out of my pocket? I'm already thinking about the Friday game because now you got to go get Prime for the Thursday night games. You got to get Peacock because the Friday game is on Peacock. And then, you already got to get the YouTube for the package. And, man, they keep dipping into our pockets. Before you know it, a lot of people are going to be like, I really can't afford it. I can't, what am I going to do with what could I do with that money that I'm investing in the NFL every year? It's getting to the point, man, where you're writing those checks and putting that credit card in, man, it hurts, so that's a whole lot of money they're asking us to throw out there, but the NFL keeps doing it and we keep, yes, sir. No, sir.
Oh, he is Ed Smith. I am Javon Adams. We do this 3 times a week. Make sure you tell a friend about what we got going on here. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can go to easysportstalk.com, easysportstalk.com. And also you can go to subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Easy Sports Talk Show. Again, at The Easy Sports Talk Show. And as we always like to say around this time, you can